跟住落嚟咧，我哋有曾志強先生。
我咧就係反對嘅係市政府嗰個立法嗰個過程嘅，食唔食鯊魚係冇乜所謂，但係問題咧就係佢嘅立法係完全係針對華人，係我哋中意食嘅嘢佢就立法，或者我哋中意食嘅嘢佢就立法禁止，呢樣嘢係好豈有此理嘅，食唔食鯊魚就冇所謂。咁同埋另外一樣咧就佢完全係唔誠實，你係要保護鯊魚，你就應該禁止捕捉鯊魚，或者係禁止係用殘暴嘅方法捕捉鯊魚，而唔係禁止我哋華人中意食嘅魚翅。呢樣嘢係完全豈有此理嘅，佢係自己呃自己。所以我好贊成台上嘅各位嘉賓所講嘅，我哋應該要企起身。企起身唔係因為我哋要食魚翅，企起身係因為我哋唔要俾人蝦，我哋唔要俾人針對。你唔尊重我，我唔尊重你，所以我哋一定要企起身。嗰啲投票贊成禁食魚翅嘅議員，我哋應該認住佢，下次一定唔俾佢張票，認住佢。就算我哋冇權投票都好，我哋話俾我哋嘅朋友聽，佢喺嗰區住嘅，叫佢千祈唔好投呢個人票，係咁。
避免頭腦單純咗少少嘛，睇條片就即刻信晒所有嘢。好，跟住落嚟咧，我哋有一位嚟自呢一個 Pickering 市嘅區域議員，咁佢咧都係想嚟我哋現場咧，同大家講幾句説話，支持我哋呢一次嘅維權公義聯盟嘅行動嘅。We have City of Pickering Regional Councillor Peter Rodriguez with us. Thank you for spending your time with us. Would you like to please come join us on the stage and tell us what you think about this issue, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. I didn't expect to be speaking at all today, but I'm glad to share my thoughts, answer questions. I'm not from Scarborough. I'm from the city of Pickering, but I'm a regional councillor, so I represent all of Durham region, which is 8 municipalities. And just recently, we had, in the city of Pickering, a motion to ban, I'm not even clear what it was, ban shark fins. I don't think they know what they were doing, to tell you the truth. They're very confused because more important than the feeling is the facts. You have to understand the truth and the reality. And people think one thing, act a different way. I'm just here as an individual, though, and I didn't expect to speak today, but I share the concerns, and it's not a matter of shark fin, it's about responsible government. And the way you make fair and responsible government is by being involved in politics all the time. There's 2 main times. Number 1 is at elections. Half of the people don't vote, sometimes less than half, especially municipally. You very much have to get involved at election time. But also, that's not the end of your responsibility. You have to be involved all the time because we all get the government we deserve because we take no action. If there's a river coming and you do nothing, you will be swept away. But if you work towards it in harmony with neighbors, with other people, you have a greater chance to succeed. And in democracy, you don't always get your own way. There are times when we don't all agree, brothers and sisters, husbands and wives. But an informed opinion, intelligent thought, asking questions, explaining what you think, listening for answers, responding. And if we have that, then we have a reasonable consensus of what is best for us as a community. But it has to be, number 1 again, based on the facts. Because people sometimes, they don't deliberately try to be evil or bad or make bad judgments. They just don't think enough, don't get the factual information. So it's our responsibility, your responsibility to work with other people and to inform them. And it doesn't do too much good for me to talk with my friend and we talk and we both agree. No, we have to reach out to more people. You should attend your city council meetings. It's very important because even though you elect people to be responsible, you still need to keep giving them information, keep giving them direction, tell them what you think. So democracy means you have to participate. So there is a shark fin issue, but that's just one example of many things that are of concern. So, and it will serve you. You'll feel like a better part of the community. I could talk at great length. I'm not sure what I was to say.
Okay, no, we can add, people ask questions as well. But I do have a personal question because I want to know, like, in democracy, you're a regional councillor, right? So you have a better understanding than most of us. In democracy, is it okay for the majority to rule over minority and even impose their personal values upon others? So you, like, you know what, we don't eat meat. You guys shouldn't eat meat at all. Is that what democracy is about?
That's a very good question. And it's interesting. On one hand, democracy means rule of the people. And by default, it means the majority rules over the minority. As a matter of fact, even now we have the minority ruling over the majority. Stephen Harper got a majority government. He controls the government. Even if all the other parties get together and vote against his party, he can still do what he wants. But he only got 39% of the vote, and only 48% of the people voted. So he got a majority with only 22% of the people voting for him. But that's how our political system works. However, you ask a very good question. There is majority rule, majority decision. But still, I believe one of the biggest things we have in Canada is protection of minority rights. Because we're all part of a minority. You might be the minority with a bald head. You might be the minority of any kind of group, you know, tall, short, religion, worship, behavior. But as long as you're not impacting other people negatively, it's important to preserve minority rights. But here's the question, where do you get your power from? From the majority. So it's up to the minority, and we're all in minorities. Sometimes we're in many minorities. I'm in the minority of short people. Many people are taller than me. And some differences don't make any difference. But it's very important, once again, because of this, for the minority to speak up for yourselves. Otherwise, the majority they'll ignore you. They won't even see you. And if you're quiet and you say nothing, again, you'll just get ignored, dismissed.
Yeah, you become the lamb chops. Okay, we have Mr. Sang having a question over there. 我哋有位曾先生想發問嘅。Can we pass him the other microphone? Okay. Oh, sorry. We do have a response on panel first. Andy have a response, and then we'll let Mr. Sang ask his question. Thank you. Andy is our legal advisor. Yeah.
I just want to add one point to Peter's very eloquent description of the democratic process, is that while the majority rules the minority in most circumstances, there are checks and balances to that power that are independent to majority rule. And one of those mechanisms is our independent judicial system, of which could be a tool that can be utilized in this particular debate on this particular issue, if need be. But as a first step, and John will go through those steps near the end of this conference, and the steps that we're going to be taking to bring the majority in line with what we believe are the objectives of this organization. There are checks and balances which we will rely upon as well.
Okay, thank you, Andy. And then we have Mr. Sang having a question to Regional Councillor Rodriguez.
Yeah, I understand the group of citizens was trying to present their will in the City Council of Toronto about banning submarine, but they were mobbed against and do not even have a chance to speak out their will. Do you think they are authorized, it is legal for them to do so?
Thank you very much for the question. And if I understand it correctly, and if I don't, please ask me again. But what we had in the city of Pickering about 2 months ago, month and a half, were many people who were not from the city of Pickering trying to influence the city of Pickering Council. Now there's, again, like a lot of things, checks and balances. There's, on one hand, we have freedom of speech, and everyone can speak. And we can learn something from all kinds of people. Young people, older people, lots of people have wisdom, and lots of people have a right to express themselves. But for me, I found it very strange that people from, no kidding, Switzerland, New Zealand, some of them in Ottawa, from many places around the world. You can't believe how many emails I got. And I thought, I was elected by City of Pickering residents. That is who I am responsible for. Those are the people who pay my salary. These are the people that I impact with directly. So there's a mixture. Everyone should be able to express themselves. However, I think it's best if you're directly elected local politician on a local issue should be reflecting the views of the local citizens.
Okay, a follow-up question? Okay, yeah. Any other further questions from other guests? And it's directed to Regional Councillor Rodriguez? No, okay, her question is not, okay.
What I'm talking about is not any people speaking in the council, whatever. It is the citizens of Toronto that have a will against the banning of sub-films. And I understand from these gentlemen that when they were trying to make their will in the council, they were mobbed against and do not have a chance to speak. Do you think this is legal?
Well, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the legal system, and I don't know the rules of procedures, because a city will operate under, and you can correct me, but under provincial rules of how a city should operate. There are bylaws, procedures, and so forth. There are rules I've noticed even in Durham Council. As a Durham councillor, I wanted to speak on an issue, but another member of council said, call the vote, which means let's vote on it. So they cut off debate. And I said, no, let's have a recorded vote. And the majority of the members, which is just over 50%, they decided they didn't want to hear from any other councillors, including myself. 5 or 10 of them had spoken, but there were 28. And I didn't get a chance to speak either, so I know what you're talking about. But that was the rule in Durham Region Council. I couldn't speak about a different issue when I wanted to. So, and there are some reasons for that, because sometimes people will talk a long time and extend the time. So that you have to look at the reason why they have those rules, but you'd have to seek legal advice about a legal question. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Peter, thank you for coming here, Councillor. And on the date, I remember me and Barbara, we both in your council. We spent 4 hours in the council. Thank you. More open-minded your council. You let people talk. I spent over 30 minutes in that council to express our concern. And so I think maybe the rules are the same, but when the people operate the system, they may be different.
Yeah,
so really, I think we extend our invitation for all the councillors to come here. About over 100 of them. You are the only one reply and come over. Thanks.
And we have, from town of Markham, Councillor Eden Ho with us here today too, as well, from another region. Okay, so any further questions? If not, then if you don't mind and still have a little bit of time, please join us and have a seat.
Thank you, Councillor Peter.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for your time to come here.
Regional Councillor Peter Rodriguez from the town of City of Pickering. And I'm just going to do a little bit of translation. Do I need to? No. Okay, then that's fine. Let's save some time.
其實回應翻你剛才所講問題咧，喺多倫多市議會嗰個bylaw pass之前咧，其實我哋係有約見過 Kristen Wong Tam 同埋 BNB makers， 我哋提供過好多正確嘅資料俾佢哋，但問題對佢哋嚟講係一意孤行。我哋所提供所有嘅資料嚟講呢，佢完全都係冇擺在記錄上面嘅。咁其實功夫已經做咗，但問題佢哋係一意孤行去做。咁我諗我哋花咗太多時間去講呢個魚翅嘅問題，或者我哋而家應該仲有大概其實好可惜仲有幾分鐘，但我哋可以 extend 多少時間。
有兩位朋友即係俾咗名但係未發言嘅，我哋有冇時間？
我想 more focus on 我哋嚟緊要做啲乜嘢同埋點樣做。咁或者完咗之後，我哋再可以俾呢兩位朋友繼續發言，好唔好？咁其實我想講翻我哋嚟緊應該點樣做呢？其實我哋亦都係同好多法律界人士傾過嚟。我哋有3個途徑可以做。第一就係要多倫多市政府嘅 Standard Licensing Committee 覺得呢條法例有問題嘅話，佢哋有再新嘅資料補充落去，佢哋會提交俾市議會，再繼續去 revisit 翻呢條 bylaw。呢個途徑係 number one。number two 呢，就當日投贊成票嘅市議員，其實當日嚟講呢係38票對4票嘅。我哋要投贊成票嘅市議員有2/3同意去 revisit 翻呢條 bylaw， 咁先至可以係提交翻喺個市會嗰度呢去討論嘅。咁其實以上呢2個做法呢，都係相當之困難嘅。第一 ，Standard Licensing Committee 當初所提交嘅資料啦係好 comprehensive， 同埋係不厭其煩你係講過呢，呢條法例喺執行上呢係相當之困難，同埋亦都唔係多倫多市議會嘅 jurisdiction。除非有再新嘅資料俾佢哋呢，佢哋先會再提交俾市議會。第二，要喺38個投贊成票嘅市議員裏邊 convince 2/3嘅人先至可以提交去市議會再討論呢個法例呢。我哋一定會做呢步功夫。嚟緊我哋會約見唔同嘅市議員，但係我哋覺得呢個機會呢係相當之渺茫嘅，因為其實當初佢哋投贊成票嘅時候呢係好 emotional 一意孤行。第三呢，就係採取法律行動，或者我會交翻俾 Eva 同埋阿 Andy 講講，如果just in case 我哋要提交法律行動，我哋有乜嘢可以做得到 ？So
Eva or Andy, about the possible legal action, the last resort, what would that be?
I'll just respond back to this gentleman's questions because it relates to the legal proceeding or a potential legal proceeding. When you were asking about the procedures and whether or not the City of Toronto or other municipalities listen to the views of the citizen, and Peter kind of touched upon that point as well. Essentially, the power of a municipality is granted by provincial authority vis-a-vis the Municipal Act and other provincial pieces of jurisdiction. So what it comes down to is, and the view of that enacting legislation essentially is that the municipality's bylaws are granted provincially, and where the legal action or a potential legal action is relevant in this particular circumstance, and what the focus is on, at least on a preliminary view from the from the research that we've had done to date or completed to date, is that the issue is one of jurisdiction. Whether or not the municipalities, and in this, such as Pickering, I guess, Toronto, Oakville, and some of the other municipalities that have passed this bylaw or intending to pass this bylaw for enforcement, at least in the City of Toronto's case in September of 2012, is whether or not they have the jurisdiction to govern on issues such as shark fin, which it could be argued is one of provincial or federal jurisdiction. So in terms of advancing a bylaw and the third step of the process that John has indicated, the initiating proceeding would be one likely of a notice of application to the court, the Ontario Superior Court of Justice, seeking, amongst other relief, a quashing of the bylaws of the City of Toronto, and by virtue of that, if successful in that sort of an application, the other municipalities would be affected with respect to that sort of a decision by the Superior Court of Justice.
Eva 有冇補充？
或者我再補充少少啦。其實如果大家睇翻嗰個法例， 真係睇翻個附例嘅內容咧，佢哋咧首先就會講咗呢個附例咧，其實係為咗保護人身安全健康，為咗保護動物、保護環境。你見到佢之前我哋叫做 preamble， 即係個法例開始嗰度咧，有講呢幾樣嘢。咁佢哋講到話保護人身嗰個健康度咧，咁就攞咗話可能有含水銀量啊啲咁樣嘅作為咧，係話。所以咧，城市係有權咧去做呢條附例嘅。咁但係個問題係有冇證據證明呢一啲嘅食魚翅係含水銀量咧係會影響人身體咧？咁佢哋可以攞嚟做藉口嘅。但係問題係城市嗰個嘅立法嘅權力咧係。安省法律裏邊咧講明佢哋有啲乜嘢嘅範圍，佢哋有呢個立法嘅權限嘅，唔係話佢哋中意立例做乜都得㗎。咁所以我哋自己睇完之後咧，覺得會唔會有啲咁樣嘅即係人身即係保護人健康啊呢啲咁樣，係唔係純粹係攞嚟做藉口嘅？就唔係真係為咗呢啲原因去立法嘅。如果唔係為咗真係，如果證明唔到係有呢啲原因去立法嘅時候咧，基本上咧，市政府去咁樣立法嘅做法咧，係超越咗佢哋立法權限嘅。咁正如我哋頭先都講過，咁樣立法咧，唔係我哋想見到我哋市政府去立法嗰個嘅精神。我哋唔想見到我哋市政府，我哋需要咧。我哋嘅市議員咧，佢所做嘅嘢都係有對人咧係 accountable 嘅，佢哋係需要咧係亦都係符合法例去做嘢嘅，所以咧我哋先至會考慮到呢樣嘢，就係話我哋要提出係法律嘅行動喺法庭裏邊咧係提出話市政府要超越咗佢哋立法嘅權限啦，所以呢個咧就係我哋而家考慮緊做嘅嘢。
再提翻少少就係，如果以健康嘅角度嚟睇咧，咁咧佢哋不斷有人提出咧，就唔視乎你去Google 咧，好大個篇幅咧都由 Wow8 擺上去咧，就話食魚翅咧就會含高水銀，就對人嘅身體有影響嘅。咁其實真正嚟講咧，其實一份魚翅咧，相對之下咧係只係含0.5個 ppm of 水銀，等同咧，其實你食一塊三文魚嘅魚扒咧，含個水銀量咧，仲遠遠超過你哋食一碗魚翅。咁其實依方面嘅資料咧，好多謝阿Jim Kwan咧，亦都係做咗好多 research 咧，翻out到真實嗰個數據出嚟嘅。咁其實我諗呢樣嘢，如果真係我哋要進行法律嘅訴訟嘅時候咧，我哋亦都喺依方面做到好多 research 咧，提供有力嘅證據咧，即係證明食魚翅唔係因為水銀呢個問題。
係咁我諗咧，我哋仲有啲朋友咧係有問題或者有回應嘅，但係或者我哋會唔會講咗其實嚟緊維權公義聯盟以下嘅嚟緊有咩活動？譬如個晚宴係幾時啊？又或者我哋下一步我哋其他關心呢件事嘅華裔可以點樣參與？點樣可以即係出我哋一分力咧？可唔可以講多少少咧？
我哋維權公義聯盟咧就不斷咁強調話要透過教育對話，甚至訴諸法庭。所有嘢都係需要一定嘅費用，例如今日呢個地方，雖然場地係有感受中華提供咗俾我哋，呢個音響由我哋提供，但係有好多嘅嘢，今日有樽水係由碧咸提供，但係好多我哋嘅呢個碧咸亦都係一個大義工，今日坐喺度幫你做嘢。咁但係有好多嘢係費用唔使唔得嘅。例如做個 banner 啦，做啲字啦，好多嘢都仲係需要費用。我哋需要係籌足夠嘅費用喺呢個未來嘅漫長歲月入邊咧，去點樣去將呢個維權公義呢兩件事咧係搞好佢。咁我哋想同大家強調一下咧，我哋呢個維權公義聯盟咧嘅行政費用係0，我哋冇人資薪入，我哋連食一餐晏都係自己銀荷包出嚟，我哋去。呢個居馬費全部自付，冇一個人喺維權公義，你見到個箱入邊所放入嘅錢呢，係全部用於直接使喺教育對話或者將來嘅律師費方面。咁呢個我哋為咗去籌募款項呢，我哋喺今個月即係喺星期31月嘅11號 喺釣魚台國宴咧，我哋有一個1000人嘅宴會，係希望籌到足夠嘅款項，去可以咧係為咗將來嘅用途。咁我哋嘅餐券咧，其實已經賣得七七八八啦。我哋由籌辦呢個宴會嘅，只係喺聖誕之前，我哋第一次記者招待會開係12月嘅20號，今日係1月嘅8號，係只係2個星期時間，2個星期數嘅啫。咁我哋其實已經2個多星期少少，除咗假期之外，我哋已經差唔多賣出100台啦。咁可以睇到市面上所有廣大嘅我哋嘅市民對呢件事幾投入，佢哋亦都有身同感受嘅感覺。好多謝大家。咁到時到後咧，我哋都係有個平台，嗰晚黑亦都係歡迎大家係可以去呢個喺台上喺宴會嘅期間去發言，發表自己嘅意見。咁喺你哋今日可以去做我哋嘅會員啦。當做我哋嘅會員，只要你哋呢個支持我哋超過10蚊或以上，就係我哋嘅會員。我係需要你哋嘅支持，我需要你哋身為一個會員或做一個動力，俾我哋唔係台上嗰4個人可以做一件事。我哋有10幾個嗰啲 committee 有10幾個人，唔同嘅行業嘅專業人士喺度組成。咁然之後，我哋仲需要好多普羅大眾嘅支持，3級政府嘅支持，亦都有好多義工嘅支持。所以你哋嘅支持係好重要嘅。
同埋最重要一點咧，就係嚟緊市政府、省政府甚至聯邦政府嘅投票咧，你哋一定要積極參與。你哋投票咧就係我哋嘅子彈。如果我哋冇咗你哋投票嚟講咧，我哋華人嘅聲音咧係越嚟越薄弱嘅。所以你哋嘅每一票咧，對我哋嚟講咧，對整個社區嚟講咧係非常之重要。就係希望我哋華人要積極投票，呢個就係我哋建立我哋華人嗰個地位嘅。多謝大家。
OK， 台下邊嘅嘉賓咧，有人想係發言嘅，但係我想睇下有冇人要。
我哋歡迎你哋問問題㗎，冇任何嘢係正確與錯，錯與對嘅，所以我哋絕對歡迎你哋問問題。請問。
As long as the councillor from Pickering, I was just trying to have the first feedback. If you guys raise up the issue from the government, they ask, they say ban the shark fin, but I would just have a feedback right away. Why? And then if you go to ask the other local-born white councillor, ask them why, maybe they will say, I don't know. I don't get that. It doesn't do with me. So I have to talk in Chinese to the people. 所以我會覺得咧，究竟點解政府有啲咁嘅意見？咁我聽到收音機會講呢啲問題，我會覺得哇，發生咩事？如此佢又唔食，又唔知係乜嘢，乜嘢都唔知，然之後又唔知你乜嘢 culture， 又唔知你食咁，即係食啲嘢唔食嗰啲嘢，又覺得你好核突，然之後就話你唔好食魚翅。咁我會覺得咧，究竟發生咩事？咁我係即係以我哋華人咧，譬如以我哋華人咧，咁我嚟咗10幾20年，喺呢咁多年裏面喺香港過嚟，喺香港我哋係why 我哋會食魚翅 ，when 我哋幾時先會食魚翅，同埋 how 我哋點樣食魚翅。同埋係需要點樣去食或者點樣去做，咁1年都唔食得幾多次。我哋通常咩時候食嘅？都係人哋飲宴嘅時候食。有幾多人會請你飲咧？我唔知大家幾多。咁我嚟咗加拿大咁多年，得個2、3次或者頂籠，或者最近先至係有1次。咁如果人哋嗰個餐宴裏邊有魚翅先至會食，冇嘅咧都唔使食。咁所以會覺得究竟係即係一回咩事？
我哋等 Councillor Peter 答翻你個問題好冇 ？Do you want to translate the question?
Okay, it's more like a personal opinion than a question, but she did ask something in English, right? So Peter, yes. Can you respond to that? Yeah.
I'd be glad to. Thank you so much. Great question. I asked the same question, and I've only been elected 1 year now, and I didn't run for just city councillor. I ran for regional councillor. So I sit at the city of Pickering and at the region of Durham. So I have a double function. But the things I've seen, 1 year ago, I was a regular citizen like yourself. And today, I'm still a regular citizen like yourself. We're all the same. And the reason why I got involved is because of things like the shark fin. I said, this isn't right. And I've seen so many things. And because I had many experiences. I went to council. I said, I disagree with this, and these are the reasons, and these are other people. We had a great large sewer pipe, the toilet flush from more than 1 million people to come through Pickering, be processed and dumped in Lake Ontario. We went out in the winter time, we got 5,000 signatures. However, they still pushed it through. And I disagreed with that. So what I did was I took action because you don't, as I said before, you don't always get what you want. There's other people with other reasons. But when the majority of people on a rational, sensible basis have a judgment and they ignore you, and there is not a good reason that they can give you when you directly ask them, then what you need to do is become involved in the politics and throw them out of office. They have many advantages for being councillors because they have a budget. They can spend money. They get known. And most people either don't vote or they vote because, oh, I heard that name before. That's why I said, if you want to get results, you must take action. And I think it's so wonderful today that you've got leadership, people here that will come before you to give you leadership. However, leadership without people supporting the leadership will get you nowhere. It's fantastic that there are all kinds of people who have organized this meeting and who came before Pickering Council, but by themselves they can't do anything. So to answer your question directly, you need to contact each councillor. In writing is a good way because then you get an in-writing response. And what they do is what they think will get them elected. So what you've got to show them is you can get them unelected. So become politically involved. And it's wonderful, once again, for the leadership, but you must take action and multiply your power.
Always CC your email to CBC, 680 News, City TV. When you send an email to the councillors, always CC it to the press.
其實我只係一個開場白啫，因為咧我係即係住咗喺加拿大咁耐，覺得政府真係唔知佢哋諗乜嘢，同埋咧有啲無關痛癢嘅都唔關佢哋事，然之後咧諗埋晒啲無謂嘢。咁但係咧就係我就覺得就係話好感謝有呢啲組織咧，俾我哋可以有渠道去發表我哋意見，因為我哋一般市民真係唔知同邊個講，英文又半桶水，跟點講咧？咁所以就係藉住呢件事件咧，就係我都想係 raise up my voice 去講啲嘢，就係話食唔食魚翅係另一回事，問題係我哋有我哋嘅權利。咁如果你又唔食，你又唔明，又唔知，又唔食，又唔了解我哋文化，咁講乜嘢咧？係根本係冇 point。係 ridiculous， 同埋咧都唔 make sense， 係咩唔 make sense？ 我講呢樣嘢，咁然之後咧就係話因為喺加拿大生活咗咁耐咧，你同嗰啲local born 嗰啲嘅白人咧，你哋做朋友啊，佢哋根本唔知你咁多嘢，見到你食嗰啲嘢話臭，又話呢又話路，根本佢哋唔明白。首先係呢個 culture 問題，然之後咧會覺得你話乜你食嗰啲嘢嘅，佢唔食噶嘛，佢都唔了解，咁所以引致到有好多嘢。如果你問翻嗰啲市議員咧，根本佢都我唔食嘅喎，唔關我事喎。
OK， 好多謝你嘅意見。咁我哋留翻啲時間俾其他朋友，有冇其他問題啊 ？OK，
頭先我哋仲有幾個名上邊有嘅，使唔使要 go through 翻嗰個名先好唔好啊 ？OK， 盧振榮先生。
我哋好冇
盡快講簡短1分鐘好冇啊？因為我哋已經 overrun 咗啦。
啲朋友能夠講出佢嘅問題。
盧振榮先生之後咧，有林堅先生、韋忠南同埋吳偉豪4位係頭先交咗名嘅，我哋等你講埋先啊。
我覺得咧呢次事件咧，俾人產生好多聯想。首先咧就係佢呢單事咧，唔單止一單，之前有 Two Asia 大學太多亞洲學生，另一單事就係陳旺事件。如果你將佢連埋一齊嘅話咧，我覺得根本就係一種族裔嘅欺凌行為。如果假設我哋其實你要明白到一點咧，現時咧即係資金同人才流動決定經濟發展嘅而家嘅世界。就係咧，如果假時間咧呢種信息傳去全球其他地方，令到加拿大嘅形象受損嘅，亦都影響我哋嘅經濟發展。我記得喺20年前嘅時候咧，我初移民加拿大嘅時候，佢喺加拿大出現嘅嗰個樓市泡沫爆破，主流方面經濟跌得好差。相反嚟講，我哋華裔嗰個消費嗰個市場係相當之蓬勃。 就係因為有呢啲新移民帶動，同時亦都帶動咗主流傳媒都主流嗰個經濟都有部分收得益嘅。希望加拿大主流方面能夠認真睇清楚呢種問題嘅所在，唔好俾呢啲無謂嘅事分化我哋加拿大。係咁多，多謝大家。
多謝，
多謝。
Thank you。係有冇回應先？如果唔係，我哋仲有另外3位。
繼續去啦。
繼續。
OK， 好，跟住下一位係阿林堅先生嗰邊，係啦。OK， 我哋因為咧已經 overrun 嘅關係，希望大家每人咧盡量係1分半鐘嘅 at most。之後咧，我哋交翻俾台上面去總結。我哋都唔該晒媒體仲留喺度嘅朋友嚇，我哋多謝晒你哋。
多謝主席。首先我要申報一下，我自己唔係一個飲食嘅從業員，我嘅屋企人亦唔係做飲食業嘅。咁我喺呢度唔想再重複咁討論市議會係咪有權力通過呢個咁愚痴嘅附例，或者而家真係只係有4種嘅鯊魚係瀕臨絕種而需要受保護。我今日企出嚟主要係想講一啲嘢係關於我自己個人嘅感受。咁我自己亦喺網上睇到好多有關鯊魚捕獵嘅情況。咁有一啲場面呢，的確係好驚嚇嘅。咁其實我想指出一點就係話，其實呢一個量嘅問題，我見到啲魚大部分上咗岸已經係死咗㗎啦。無論你點樣處置佢，你用乜嘢手法處置佢，佢都係死魚一條。咁講到量嘅問題，如果你容許我帶一隊攝影隊入去現在政府嘅屠雞場、屠豬場，我諗我一樣可以拍到一啲好震撼性嘅畫面，然後出嚟話俾大家聽，你哋唔應該再食豬肉，唔應該再食雞肉、
牛肉同埋
係啦，所有嘅肉類。咁另外一個方面，我想再舉多一個例子，就係話用雞，譬如用或者用豬嚟做例子，係咪？眾所周知，亞洲人食雞食埋佢嘅頭、佢嘅腳、佢嘅內臟，豬都係一樣，係咪？但係我從來冇聽過一啲主流議員或者一啲環保分子佢出嚟讚我哋，話我哋物盡其用，係環保嘅先鋒。喺呢度我好希望我哋一啲議員，尤其打環保牌嘅議員，佢能夠返到佢嘅市議會裏邊，提出一啲有建設性嘅動議，鼓吹本地人多啲食豬頭、雞頭、豬腳、雞腳、內臟等等，為環保出一分力。多謝。
Thank you， 唔該晒。跟住我哋有韋忠南先生係咪啊？我相信。OK， 韋生喺嗰邊，麻煩遞支咪俾佢，唔該 Ken。OK， 我哋等緊遞支咪過嘅時候咧，我哋現場咧有啲媒體嘅朋友，我哋要靠佢哋嘅報導咧。今日我哋現場都係咁多人嘅啫，我哋先可以更加多嘅華裔為自己企起身。我哋俾啲掌聲，我哋媒體嘅朋友，多謝佢哋幫我哋落力少少宣傳啦，好唔好啊？唔該 ，Thank you。
多謝你，我可能超過1分鐘，不過咧我盡量啦。原本又唔想講咁多嘢嘅，不過咧我就谷到爆啦。點解咧？若果我哋華人邊度嚟都好，講咩説話、咩宗教都好咧，若果呢件事嚟講咧唔出嚟撐咧，我哋就冇地方匿㗎啦。因為咧我見到晒好多嘅 case 咧，若果我哋中國人咧係好怕事唔出嚟嘅，印度人、韓國人咧，因為咧受到星報嘅侮辱咧，唔賣佢個報紙，第二日就得到道歉。斯里蘭卡人成條街封鎖，亦都得到政府幫助。華人做咩事咧？唔該你自己想想，翻到話俾你啲仔女啲孫知，外國人所講嘅嘢咧，所講係醜化嘅。所以呢個係我個 point。第一，有樣嘢 for the sake of this gentleman who speaks English, I like to let you know that this shark fin thing is not a big deal. I have seen a documentary about how to make or get caviar, beautiful, expensive, 1,000-ounce caviar. You know how they did it? They took the sturgeon fish, which is a, what do you call it? Whatever.
Endangered species.
So endangered species. They squeeze the fish to get from the ovary. to get a caviar. And what do they do with fish? Fish. And I have seen this documentary about 5 to 7 years ago on TV. So that's something for you gentlemen to research and find out. So that the shark fin deal is not a matter of species. I'm sorry, I have to say more. Therefore,
quickly, please.
This subject is selective. And another word to say selective is discriminatory. It is a discriminatory act against how the Chinese people eat that food. Now, gentlemen, we live in this country, a so wonderful country, where there's no such thing as discriminatory, is it? I never heard of it. However, before I quit, I'm sorry.
Last 10 seconds.
Last 10 seconds is to tell people up here to get into action. Get a book printed about shark fin. Get the suppliers and people to donate money to make the magazine. Also, for suppliers of shark fin, tell the Tsingtao people, the Mingpao people, whoever, if you do not expose this, we will not advertise in your paper. For the politicians, many are very good politicians. A couple are bad apples. They want to collect political stamps.
5 seconds.
Therefore, they want to make a big deal out of it. Wong Tam or beer, whatever. Let's advertise a full page on the newspaper, including Toronto Star, to highlight what they did and what we think. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. White. I think these people on stage, they're already standing up for the issue. We just have to get more people standing up for yourselves. That's more important. 最後一個位朋友吳偉豪先生喺咪度 ？OK， 哦。
係大家好。首先我想講我自己咧，我自己本人係一個素食主義者。係。咁其實站喺一個我自己素食主義者嘅立場嚟講咧，所有肉食係唔應該係食嘅。但係我反對今次市議會嘅通過嘅原因咧，就係唔可以用一個行政手段去禁止食只係單一種食品。我覺得呢個咧係唔符合自由嘅原則。點解呢個加拿大係一個民主同埋自由嘅國家呢？原因就係我哋唔希望俾一個主觀嘅道德觀念去凌駕咗自由。所以我個人嚟講，我認為今次市議會咁做法係有違背咗自由嘅原則嘅因素嘅元素喺裏邊。不過就係今日你哋講嘅係維護公義聯盟，似乎今日我聽咗咁多位嘅講者或者嘉賓所講嘅嘢呢，我發現好多人都係導向咗一個觀念，就係種族歧視呢個咁嘅講法。如果係唔係話即係話，如果我哋唔認同某一種飲食文化，某一個族裔嘅飲食文化，就等於不公義呢？我想大家諗下呢個問題，就係話，如果係中國人飲食文化係等同公義呢，咁係咪貓肉同埋狗肉都應該應要爭取去食呢？呢個係一個哲學上嘅問題。我希望大家係討論呢樣嘢。另外就係話，如果呢個係涉及到種族歧視呢個咁嘅講法嘅時候，
最後10秒啦嚇。
種族歧視呢個講法嘅時候，如果我哋去打官司，係咪容易得多呢？但係要希望大家諗下，究竟有咩證據證明市議會有種族歧視嗰個導向性喺裏邊先？另外頭先我想講埋呢幾句啦。咁就係我嚟嘅時候，俾某一位疑似係舉辦緊呢個團體嘅人士係警告啊，話叫我今日唔好玩嘢，因為你發表嘅意見可能同我哋唔同，同埋嚟講可能呢個場呢以後唔會再借出嚟。我希望大家各位在座各位係咪有咁嘅原因呢？如果係咁，我覺得今日嘅公開論壇呢係唔開放， 係唔自由，係唔民主嘅。我所講係咁多。
Thank you， 唔該晒 Teddy 嚇。
OK， 最重要，我回應翻呢位先生啱啱所講嘅問題咧，我哋啱啱亦都再三強調過咧，冇任何問題係啱與錯嘅，我哋絕對係公開聆聽任何人嘅聲音。即係如果係你有呢一個咁樣誤會咧，咁我哋向你道歉。但我哋覺得咧，我哋大家坐喺呢度咧，都係盡情地發言去講佢心中嗰個感受。呢點第一點。第二點咧就係你啱啱所提到其他問題嚟講咧，其實係文化咧，其實係隨住時代而轉變嘅。咁如果有朝一日鯊魚真係瀕臨絕種嘅話咧，如果你要禁止食魚翅嘅話咧，係應該禁晒食成條鯊魚，就唔係單獨魚翅，因為我哋唔可以用文化，因為文化係隨住時代而改變噶嘛。咁我哋唔能夠用文化堅持我哋中國嘅文化呢樣嘢咧。去爭取嘅，咁即係呢樣嘢，希望大家亦都認識得到，我哋有我哋嘅立場。我哋唯一點咧就係呢條法例，我哋一定要爭取到係公平。所以公平就話你要保育鯊魚，要禁就禁晒所有同鯊魚有關嘅產品，唔係單單禁魚翅。呢樣嘢係我哋嘅立場。
Ben 有冇補充？
我哋都講咗好多次，我哋呢個論壇咧係冇預設立場，歡迎任何嘅言論。咁所以咧我唔知道邊一位我哋嘅大會主辦人士，其實主辦人士就在座各位嘅大會嘅主辦人士，邊一位有權力去代表呢個主辦人士話俾你聽，叫你講啲咩嘢咧？嗰個人已經越咗權啦，嗰個我哋維權公義嘅人咧就會聲討佢嘅。所以咧呢個已經係越咗佢嘅權，我哋冇一個人有咁嘅權力去話俾你聽應該講啲咩説話。呢個維權公義啊嘛，每個人都自己發言嘅權嘅，所以咧我相信呢一點咧，希望大家嘅溝通對話。又學解決到呢個問題㗎啦，咁所以咧至於話係咪用種族歧視去打呢場官司會贏咧？我哋從來冇提過一個種族 discrimination 呢個字，我只係講咧就話呢件事個產生係影響咗社會嘅和諧。呢件事嘅產生，一條魚係呢個係一個間接性嘅，一條魚有200個部位，偏偏有一個部位，嗰個部位就係唔準你用嘅。咁你覺得嗰個講俾你聽嗰個人係咪歧視緊你呢？係靠你自己內心嘅感受，就唔係話呢個係一個真正嘅種族歧視。因為一條魚有200個部分，有眼耳口鼻都得，但係其中條翅就唔掂得。啱啱條翅就係你想中意嘅嘢，你攞翻去收藏嘅啫，你唔係我嚟食嘅，都唔可以收藏。咁你要諗到乜咁唔公道㗎？明屈我嘅啫，明蝦我嘅啫。當你有咁嘅感覺呢，就已經係一種歧視嘅一種感覺啦。所以呢個係一個間接性嘅歧視，係個人嘅感受嚟嘅。咁我哋唔係話喺度講緊一個種族主義，我亦都唔係話市政府提出呢個法例嘅時候呢，係站喺種族立場，為咗呢樣嘢去做呢件事。佢哋係為咗去將選票做呢件事，因為我話俾你聽，呢啲市議員冇張選票，佢哋聽日就要轉工㗎啦。咁佢哋份工再轉過唔同我哋何先生咁，係一個恩明嘅商家，佢轉到工之後做個商業等住佢，唔係個個都有㗎。多謝。
Okay, thank you, Ben. Maybe I have one more question for Regional Councillor Peter Rodriguez here, because you being the obvious non-Chinese here. Now, for the last 20 minutes or so, there is a sentiment that we Chinese being a victim of racism. In the air. So, can you offer us just your 2 cents? In our fight towards this bad bylaw, injustice bylaw, is there any way that we should, as Chinese, as a community, to be careful not to help others gang up further against our community when we fight against this bylaw?
Thank you. I guess I'm a minority of one foreigner, so to speak, but we're all Canadian. And I think you raise a good question. I've heard the word racism before. To me, that's not the issue. Because people say, what is my race? And I say, I'm human. We're all human. And it's not to me about the shark fin, it's about political democracy working properly. And I think with the leadership, I think you need to come up with several main strategies as how to go forward. Racism could be used as kind of an option, but trouble is when you pick one thing that's not really the core issue, it will then polarize people. People say, oh, racism, no racism, and that takes you away from the main issue. So Are there some people out there that might think wrongly? Yes. But if you take your time to fight against that, you're missing the main focus. When I was on my campaign, people would take my election signs and throw them away. Well, I didn't go to complain. I just put new signs up. I took positive action. So I haven't thought out this issue in depth. There's many considerations, legal, how to approach it, how to work together. But I don't think people are thinking particularly racism. They're just thinking of a certain race eats more of shark fin than other races. The way we think more Italian people eat pizza, or Mexican people eat tacos, or Portuguese people eat fish. It's not true. Some people might not, but it doesn't matter. Because maybe I will eat shark fin soup. It doesn't matter your race, it matters the issue and the facts, I believe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for everybody joining here today. I think we are already overrun half an hour. And thank you for the venue. They provided space for us. And I knew that this topic can extend for another
few days,
few months for us to succeed. It will take few years, maybe decades. Thinking about the head tax, it takes 60 years to overturn. So I hope this bylaw won't take us 60 years to overturn it. If you want to express or concern more, we have a website. You can send your email to us. Our email address is info@farga.ca, info@farga.ca. And also, you can visit our website and you can see whatever news comes up. Any new event, any new issue, we'd like to pay our attention onto it. You're welcome to input your energy. And always, you're welcome to input your resources. We need resources. And that's why I say, hour and a half for today is too short. We have another hour and a half on Wednesday coming up on the Premier Ballroom, our gala, fundraising gala. Luckily, we get somebody, a generous citizen here in Toronto, would like to match whatever we raise on that day, dollar to dollar. So if you can come, or if you can, before you leave today, just put maybe you just want to go out to buy ice cream, to put the ice cream money there, and every dollar count. It will save for the future use. Because we are a group of not-for-profit organization. We don't have resources. We don't have support from any level of government yet. But definitely, we will turn this organization into a national organization. We will make it become a registered, not necessarily charity, but it's an organization that we can obtain government funding in the future. But it's a long way to go. Without the help today, you see, we have a lot of volunteers here today. And to have a platform like this, takes a lot of time to organize. To have a dinner for over 1,000 people, we hope to raise minimum 150 to 200,000 in a night. It will a lot of effort for everybody. Without your help, without your assist, without your show up, it won't succeed. Thank you so much for coming.
好，我哋今日嘅活動咧完結之前咧，我希望大家咧趁仲有咁多人嘅話咧，我哋要多謝台上面嘅幾位嘉賓，因為佢哋真係出錢出力嘅。我哋俾啲掌聲兩位共同主席阿 Ben 同埋阿 John， 我哋兩位嘅法律顧問 Eva 同埋 Andy， 仲有到場支持我哋嘅兩位 Councillor， 有 Regional Councillor Peter Rodriguez，and also Councillor Alan Ho。同埋最緊要係，我相信你哋都唔係為咗自己食唔食得次而今日嚟嘅，多謝你哋支持呢啲嘅活動嚇，俾啲掌聲你自己。參與行動咧，除咗出席今日之外咧，你平時仲有自己嘅 Facebook、Twitter， 可能係微博，又或者你見到嘅隔離鄰舍，得閒嘅話同我哋解釋下呢件事啦。多謝你哋 ，thank you。